Greetings, Classic lovers. We're once again back with another episode of WoW Alpha Hardcore as we speak to the Zeppelin operator Hindenburg just outside Undercity. He is a placeholder because the Zeppelin model and transportation is not yet in the game. Some of you might remember the Captain Placeholder in Menethil. He is the same thing, just for the Alliance that wants to go to Theramore. There are no working boats or zeppelins in this version yet. So as we explore Orgrimmar in its alpha state, we will briefly check out the bank of Orgrimmar, which has one banker inside. Actually, no, there's a couple more. There's three bankers. The bank looks a little bit different. We're checking for Gammon, the Choran in the inn that everybody likes to slay. He's not here yet, so he's not in the game. The next Tauren we visit is Kaya, the guns and ammo merchant. She is still in the game and she has a little bit of a larger model than we would be used to. As we explore the drag that is actually named Long Unnamed Canyon in this version, we're also going to be going down to the Cleft of Shadows, I believe. In this version, it's called the Voodoo Lounge, but I don't dare explore it too much because, as you can see, this happens. And with no Hearthstones in the game and a hardcore playthrough, I don't dare go in there any further because if I die, I die. So if I have to use Unstuck, I'm not even sure if that's a thing, then I would obviously lose the game. We find a working enchanting vendor as well as a trainer. And quite curiously enough, you can see here I check out the different recipes. A lot of the recipes that we are familiar with are already in the game. However, a bunch of the recipes are not actually permanent. They just last for 60 minutes. So that was a way that they apparently tried to balance the enchanting profession back then. The stronger recipes just last for 60 minutes and then you would have to reapply them, which obviously in a dungeon or a raid would make min-maxing quite annoying, as you would have to keep track of that timer and then reapply, have an enchanter ready and reapply the enchant to whichever item you would like. Other than that, there are already weapon enchants and all the good stuff, so that's quite interesting. Interestingly also, it takes Peace Bloom, Silverleaf, and other herbs as materials, as well as Mystical Powder, which you can buy at the Enchanting Trainer. So that whole system of disenchanting greens was not in the game yet. I can only assume the reason being is that, green items were very rare, at least in this alpha version. I have not come across too many green items yet. So you can see me here check out the different recipes and what they do and which requirements they have. Once again, because there is no limit on how many professions you actually can have, that is probably also why you are required to use herbs for enchanting. It wouldn't have been uncommon probably for players in the alpha to learn every trait skill and thus be in possession of herbs. Now we enter Thrall's Keep, and I have to say it is a veritable maze in there. It uses a model that is sometimes found in the wild, such as in Desolus, for example, in the Thunder Axe Fortress. It has the same keep layout, however, this one is a little bit more intricate. As you can see here, the main room after the entrance is occupied by the Shaman trainers. Apart from the fork that we're going to be taking now, there is another path forking off to the right, but it is actually empty at this point in the game. So we're going to be entering Thrall's chamber by way of this labyrinth, and we will shortly see that the man doesn't have a model yet. Well, he does have a model, but he doesn't have textures. He's just a pink blob, if you will. To his right is Naskril. I'm not sure what the state of Naskril is in the Classic 1.12. I do believe he's also in Thrall's chamber along with Vol'jin and Eitrigg. Thrall, as you can see here, he looks quite different indeed. He seems to have a different hairstyle and even to be wearing a more shamanistic apparel, I would say, as opposed to his kind of warrior look in the 1.12 version. Speaking of Eitrigg, he is the guy that instructs the level 1 orcs in the Valley of Trials. So they switched that around, they put him in Thrall's chamber, and instead I think we have Gornek giving you the first quest of the game if you roll an orc. We can see here there's a different layout. I kind of like this ramp leading into what will become the Valley of Spirits. It's a bit different, but I really like it. So I'm just checking out the tabard vendor and the guild master functionality, which does seem to be in the game. I am not sure if this is an actual alpha thing. I thought I read patch notes that introduced the guild mechanic later on. Perhaps the vendor and the guy, selling you the charter was already in the game, but non-functional. Either way, I do believe on this server it works. So Holgar Stormaxe, he has a little bit of a different model. There is a boar trainer next to him because hunters used to work a little bit differently. You would have to find the different trainers strewn about in the world to advance your pet skills. And yeah, we talk to the goblin, we get the quest for the Razorwind Canyon and promptly do that. So you can see here there are a little bit different Harpie models. I'm not sure what exactly they changed about them. At least the color scheme is different. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but in my opinion, they look better almost than in the classic version. Uh, they do seem to be a little bit less rich on the texture side, but there seems to be a little bit more detail in their sprite nonetheless. Don't ask me how that works, but yeah, maybe it's just the different color schemes that are clashing here that make it a little bit more interesting. And as we start gathering the sacks of supplies, we once again run into an issue that is uh, unique to this server, I think. The world map spawns sometimes overlap. As we saw in the first episode with the spiders, there were 2 spiders in one spawn point. So it also often happens that you will find 2 barrels and 2 crates of food in the same place, or one of each, I should rather say. As we finish up the Sack of Supplies quest and start heading back to the Goblin very shortly, I just want to reiterate once again that I will be streaming on Friday, which is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, at 5 p.m. Central European Summertime on Kick. You can find the post regarding that in the community section of my channel. I do hope to see some of you there. If not, no biggie, I will continue to post this series to YouTube either way. It's just that, leveling in WoW Classic, especially on an empty server, is more fun if you have someone to interact with, or people to ask questions, or to ask them questions. Either way, I really enjoyed streaming back when I used to do that. For about half a year, I was doing that regularly, which is about 10 years ago now. So, I was a lot younger back then. I was quite a different person. But I still think that it's going to be great fun because I enjoyed it very, very much. As you can see here, we walk through the cave and there's actually a mithril deposit here. The one on the left was a copper deposit, even though it shares the same model as the mithril one. I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe mithril was actually meant to be a lower level ore, or maybe, they just placed it here by accident. Maybe they just wanted to show off the different kinds of ore that you can expect to see as you move further into the game. I really have no idea what the reasoning behind that was. Obviously, this is very, very condensed and cut together very, very densely. So it took me about an hour, or let's not say an hour, let's say 45 minutes to finish those 2 quests, because I do have to be careful in here, and the Dustwind Savages and Harpies are around my level at this point, so I can't go too wild on them. It does take me almost my full mana pool to take down 2 of them. They also run away in fear, so you can imagine that I had to be quite careful here. And as I run out of mana for the 50th time in this canyon, you will very shortly see me go for another talent point. Yes, indeed. So we have Meditation rank 2, Holy Power rank 2, and Physical Prowess rank 1. Physical Prowess obviously increasing our HP by 20, and we decide to go for Meditation rank 3. I really couldn't tell you if it does anything or how much it does, if it does something, but yeah, maybe the placebo effect is strong here, and I do skill it, so I do hope that it has an effect. We pick our first common Mage Bloom, which would become Mage Blood later on. Here it's called Common Mage Bloom, interestingly enough. And we find another chest, maybe if it's, if you can see it on your screen. I do believe that chests have a little bit of a higher resolution in this version than in the alpha, or at least the edges are a little bit more crisp. I think they look better anyways in this version than in the actual classic version. We find a Journeyman's Pants +1 intelligence, so a little bit of an upgrade there. we turn in the next quest, not without having to delete an item because my inventory is sadly overflowing, which is just a result of being able to have all those professions. So maybe that was not very well thought out. And here we see where the inn would be in Razor Hill is actually a pond. We're just checking out which quests Garthok has. Vanquish the Betrayers. The quest to kill the Kultiran humans in the keep is already in the game. And so is Encroachment, the one that sends you off to kill the Quillboars. And this quest, we are actually going to be doing the Quillboar quest, that is. The Vanquish the Betrayers quest is a little bit below our level, so I don't think we would be getting experience from those being level 12 already. Another problem that I am running into at this point is that there is no Valley of Spirits in Orgrimmar, so there is no priest trainer, at least none that I would know of that I could have been able to find. I do think there might be a priest trainer either in Senjin Village or in Razor Hill, but that will become a problem at around level 14, I do believe. On a side note, I have been playing some Divinity Original Sin for the first time ever. I've never been too familiar with CRPGs, but I'm playing it blind right now and I'm quite enjoying it. So you can expect me to bring a video on that soon as well. Obviously, this is not a pure WoW Alpha or World of Warcraft channel by any means. It's just that I have been enjoying it as of late. And so, yeah, that's, you can expect different things coming from me, and I hope that you will tune in for those too, and that you will also enjoy those. We find another chest here, and as you maybe have another option to admire the alpha chests in all their glory, I do believe that their edges are a little bit crisper, but maybe that's just me. Also, I forgot to mention, we are doing this in 4.3 at the moment, so if you're wondering why you have black bars, yeah, we tried something different as I announced a couple of episodes back. So we find a Severing Axe. Interesting fun fact about this Severing Axe. It is a green item in the current WoW version, like current being 1.12. There is Severing Axe of the Bear, of the Boar, etc., etc. But here the Severing Axe is just a white, which goes back to the point of, well, more green items being in the game. We talked to Misha about her lost son, the son that's been eaten by the crocs. If you paid attention there briefly, you would have also seen her hut being an actual tent, not so much a mud hut as you would be used to from the Horde. So they did change that model. The tent model you saw in the back here is also used by the Frostbane trolls in Dunmorroth in the Dwarven starting area, as well as in some other places. So that has been replaced at some point. Again, we cut together this video quite heavily. So as it appears, I find the amulet on the second croc, but it actually took a couple more, obviously. But as I said, you don't need to see me kill every animal or enemy. If you do, then I would suggest you tune in to the live stream tomorrow, where, I won't be cutting anything together, and you can see, sorry, as I turn off my phone, someone's calling me, and you can see everything in its pure state. We turn in the quest Conscript of the Horde, and we start heading towards the Barrens. Interesting backstory here, Cargill Battlescar is complaining that a woman is in charge of Crossroads, Sergar Darkthorn, the lady that gives you the quest for the Planestrider Beaks, etc. So there is a little bit more of a backstory to this quest than I remember there being. And with that being said, we will continue this point tomorrow as we run out of time here already, almost 14 minutes. And with Crossroads in the distance, I will leave you on a little bit of a quick cliffhanger. So be sure to check in tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed this video as always. Goodbye and take care.